You know what I think that is ridiculous? I mean, we haven't had a single professional athlete that died from COVID 19. And they're forcing these mandates, forcing these athletes to get vaccinated. I mean, these people are by far the most healthiest people on planet Earth. And they want these people to get vaccinated. And I mean, like, the true definition of vaccine, it's like years and years of development. This vaccine only got like developed in what, like a couple months, 9 months. I mean, it's not even FDA approved. It's not even. It doesn't even fall into the category. It's not even scientifically a vaccine. It's not even officially a vaccine. They're just calling it a vaccine, but it's not FDA approved yet. And they're forcing these vaccines on these athletes. They want to use these people as guinea pigs. And I mean, what is the percentage of dying from COVID? Like, what's the survival rate? Like 99.9 something percent? So, what is the point of forcing these athletes, these world class athletes, to get these vaccines? And I don't, like, with me, in my opinion, I recommend people to get the vaccine. I think people should get the vaccine. That's my opinion. Even though I'm a Republican, I support the vaccines. Like Donald Trump, I support the vaccine. But, at the end of the day, it's your choice to make. We are grown ass people. That is our choice to make. The vaccine is available for everybody over the age of 12. And it's your choice and your decision to make. And some people, they already got COVID and they recovered from it. So they have natural immunity. So they feel like, oh, guess what? I feel like I don't need to take it. Or like, I'm in my 20s, I'm young, I feel like I don't need to take it. At the end of the day, it's your choice to make. And these young kids, how many like young people actually died from COVID? Like a very, very minuscule number. So does it really make sense to force our 5, 6 year old to get masked up? Does it make sense to lie about our 10-year old's age? Oh, my kid is 12, to get him vaccinated. I mean, you want to jab a needle into the arm of like a 9 or 10-year old, you know, kid who with a vaccine that's not even like FDA approved. I don't get it. I mean, to me, that's the decision that the parents should make. And these vaccine mandates, they don't really make sense, because all it does is it discriminates the unvaccinated people. You can't go here, you can't do that, you can't live life because you're not vaccinated. And guess what? I rather have the unvaccinated mingle with the vaccinated, because the vaccinated, they're already protected. But if you have the unvaccinated mingling with the unvaccinated, that's how this virus spreads even more, even faster. So Israel, they tried that, and they had like a 60 something percent vaccination rate, and they tried the mask mandate, the vaccine mandate, and it backfired. COVID is still rising. And what these people don't understand is, even if you get the vaccine, you could still get COVID. It's going to be like a mild cold, but you still can get it. You know that, right? So these people are like going crazy. Oh, the cases are going all over the place. Yeah, because you could still get it. You could still get it. And that's what these people don't understand. And they're going crazy. They're like, oh my God, we got to wear a mask forever and stuff like that. To me, I feel like after a while, this disease will pan out. It will become something like the flu, a seasonal flu. There are more kids last year that died from the flu than COVID. And have we ever masked up our children because of the flu? I just want my kids to go back to school, man. This does not make any sense. I need a vaccine, visa or card or something like that to go on the plane, go in the car, go into the bus, go on into restaurants. So what if I'm taking my kid with me? Does that mean my kid can't go onto the plane with me? Does that mean my kid can't go on the bus with me? Does that mean my kid can't go to school? Does that mean, my kid can't go into the restaurant with me? That's fucking bullshit, man. You see the problem with all these mandates? but they're okay with like a vaccination mandate with the card and stuff like that. Black people are smart enough to get a card and ID to show that they're vaccinated, but black people, they're not smart enough to get an ID that proves that they could vote, that they're legit, that they're legal. Like, Biden, he says black people are too dumb. They don't know how to use computers. They don't know how to use printers. How can they possibly make IDs? Get an ID for voting. Because there was like fraud claims in 2016 and fraud claims in 2020. So why not, make sure we have something that makes sure that, you would never be able to cheat again. No. Why aren't the Democrats for that? Because they want to cheat. That's why. In America, you need an ID for everything. You need an ID to buy liquor. You need to buy an ID you have to have an ID to buy cigarettes. You have to have an ID to go on a plane. You have to have an ID, to buy a firearm. You have to have an ID to drive. I mean, you need to have an ID for everything. So what's the big idea? What's the problem with having an ID to prove that you could vote? So that's what I don't get with these Democrats, man. What are they trying to do? What are you trying to hide? Yeah, so that's my take on all the vaccination mandates and stuff like that, the vaccination card, and the mask, and that's my opinion. To me, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. If you want to get vaccinated, if you want to get your family vaccinated, then go ahead, get your family vaccinated. If you don't want to get your family vaccinated, then don't do it. It's that simple. Like, if you want to own a gun, that's your right. If you want to own a gun in America, you should be able to do it. And if you don't want to own a gun, you should be able to not own a gun. That's your decision. That's your right. I mean, we have our Second Amendments. We have our First Amendments. We have these personal rights. And these Democrats are trying to make it complicated. And it doesn't have to be that way. We're living in America. This is not a socialist communist country. This is not China. This is not Cuba. This is not Vietnam. We're not the Taliban. I mean, this is the United States of America. We should be able to make that decision whether or not we want to own a gun or not, whether or not we want to wear a mask, and these Democrats, they're like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, prevent people from having the right. To me, you know what's good? Less government. We gotta help our people to be more independent, not more dependent on the government. Black people nowadays, they're so brainwashed, all that gaslighting. And they feel like, oh, I got to be dependent on my government. This country has almost 400 million citizens. It doesn't matter how rich this country is. This country cannot support and help and take care of all 400 million Americans. You know what this country should be teaching our citizens? They should be teaching our citizens to be independent, to help us to be independent and strong citizens. Not dependent. The Democrats, they want, the people, they want big government. They want big government. They want their people to listen to them. They want their people to be dependent on them. And Republicans, they want citizens to be independent. And that's what it is. That's why I love Ronald Reagan. He's a true inspiration, man. He's the man. My family, they came over here in the 80s, when Reagan was president, when President Reagan was the man, and we love him, he's a true leader, and he's for the people, man. And I see that in Trump too. And you see, he, ever since he went down, everything's been, and it's been only 7 months, man. What else can happen? He'd probably die in office and Kamala Harris would take over, and that would be even worse. No, it is what it is, man. Yeah.